Welcome to Boxing During Dinner's year in review for 2012. Did we do one of these last year?
Yeah, I think we did.
The second.
This is second annual.
Second annual.
This is the first thing that we've had two of.
Well, did we have? We had a model twice.
Yeah, a few more times.
Yeah. So yeah, year in review.
Year in review.
Second annual year in review for Boxing During Dinner. We got some awards to go out. You know, we're not gonna give any. I guess they got a glass.
We got some
empty glass to the winners. But you know, we're gonna leave the best for last. So I want to start with Breakthrough Fighter of the Year, David. You know, we spoke about this before when we were going through the awards we were gonna give out, and we disagreed on this one. Who's your guy?
Yeah, my pick was Danny Garcia. You know, the junior welterweight champion of the world, now recognized lineally as the best in that division. He was known as, you know, an up-and-comer. I mean, he fought guys, you know, who were supposed to be prospect type of opponents for him in 2011. Then he comes in and outclasses Eric Morales, which is a fight a lot of people, it was a close fight, let's not get that wrong. But Garcia proved his mettle, claimed his first title, but then he shocked the world by KOing Amir Khan. Well, for starters, winning the fight, but two, in the manner that he won it. Then he comes back and retires Eric Morales. Brutal fashion. My pick for Breakthrough because of what he represents at 140, Danny Garcia.
And really quick, now you mentioned Eric Morales, I think he was Guest of the Year.
Guest of the Year.
Boxing During Dinner.
Eric Morales.
No argument there.
Love to have him.
But my Breakthrough Fighter of the Year is Gennady.
I think it's a G. Hard G.
Gennady Golovkin. And the reason why, David, and I know he only fought once and you know and beat the crap out of Proska. And the reason I'm picking him as Breakthrough Fighter of the Year is because nobody had seen him in the U.S., at least not you know fighting in U.S. soil. And he comes in, looks dominant, looks like a fierce fighter. I mean you know that the late Jim Mandich, who used to be a tight end for the Dolphins and for the undefeated 72 team, then was a broadcaster for many years, called Dolphin games. He would always ask the question, does X make your toes tingle? And yes, Golovkin made my toes tingle, a la Jim Mandich. You know, he's a fighter that got me excited to watch. He's a guy that I want to, you know, continue watching. He's going to fight Gabriel Rosado early next year, and I think he's going to win that fight. Yeah. He's going to be a world champion for many years to come, in my opinion. Must see
TV. I just deleted one of our things. I don't know exactly what it was. Okay. Let's move right on to Story of the Year, and I think we both agreed on this one. It was not only the number of passings in the sport of boxing, but the significance of the characters in the sport who passed on in 2012. We looked at Emmanuel Stewart, Angelo Dundee,
Macho Camacho, Johnny Tapia.
A lot of fighters. I mean, and we're literally just touching the top of the barrel.
There's many others, and you know, no disrespect to those we don't mention, but you know, the sport of boxing the last couple of years. I mean, last year we were talking about the death of Genaro Hernandez, and you know, it's lost many significant figures in the sport. Emmanuel Stewart, who was not only one of the best trainers of all time, but one of the best color commentators of all time.
Yeah. On
HBO, you know, his opinions were always like on point, and you know, he goes from training and calling a fight to all of a sudden we realize he's sick, and just like that he's gone. Yeah. And to me that was the most shocking. You know, not to say that a young person like Camacho or Johnny Tapia wasn't shocking, but you know, they had the substance abuse and
there was some context for how that could happen.
Outside the ring troubles that, you know, ultimately led to their untimely death. But you know, with Emmanuel Stewart, I mean, that just hit everybody like a ton of bricks. We didn't see that coming.
And he was the most visible person to be, you know, taken from the landscape
this year. And such a nice guy too.
I know.
I mean, they were all nice. See, Tapia and Camacho were sweethearts. Angelo Dundee was a sweetheart as well.
And they'll be missed. Moving on. All right. Well, we've got Knockout of the Year. Now, a lot of people after last weekend think this is unanimous. Armando and I, we disagree. Armando, your pick?
I go with the consensus. I go with Marquez and Pacquiao. Not only was it a beautifully timed shot, great right hand, knocked out Pacquiao cold, but the significance of the event, the significance of Juan Manuel Marquez finally knocking out Manny Pacquiao, who for years and years people thought was invincible. I mean, I would have shouting arguments with people about Mayweather Pacquiao and you know, trying to tell them how Mayweather's a better fighter, how, you know, would be no contest if they fought, and you know, he gets knocked out, and you know, I wasn't delighted to see Manny Pacquiao knocked out, you know, but it was just the impact of the knockout, of seeing Manny Pacquiao lose. It was a huge story in the sport, and to me that was by far knockout of the year. Even though your knockout of the year, you know, it involves a good friend of ours.
If we take away the context of that fight, I think there's a very good argument to be made for the fact that Randall Bailey knocked out Mike Jones in an extremely brutal fashion in a fight that he was losing by a landslide. Came up with, you know, dropped Jones in round 10 and gave him the literal perfect uppercut in round 11. I mean, the way Marquez's punch was perfect on Pacquiao, Bailey's was perfect on Mike Jones, and I think for both guys that should be the cap of their career.
Our round of the year, David, you know, it wasn't an all-out gaudy Ward round, but and we both agree on this. It was just because of the shock after what we saw for the first 11 rounds. Chavez and Martinez. Julio Cesar Chavez, I mean, lost the first 11 rounds of the fight as bad as anybody could lose 11 rounds in any fight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, unexpectedly, almost pulls out the impossible. He almost does what his father did against Meldrick Taylor, even though that was a way more competitive fight than was the case with Martinez. He almost knocks him out, almost stops Sergio Martinez in the last round. I mean, the crowd at the Thomas and Mack, which I was at, you know, which was lively before the fight and dead for 11 rounds, all of a sudden erupted. It was amazing. It was such an amazing place to be at when that happened, because for a split second it looked like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was about to knock out Sergio Martinez.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I was watching it from my living room and I literally sprang up out of my chair and screamed, "Oh my God!" You know, a la Jim Lampley when Victor Ortiz knocked down Andre Berto after looking like he was out last year, which to me was round 6 in their first fight, was round of the year last year. But yeah, I mean, no greater drama perhaps than that round in this fight this year.
And quickly, we weren't going to mention it, but to me, upset of the year is that Gus Johnson's head hasn't blown up yet. Anyway, we're by, I guess, fight of the year, or
pound
for pound fighter for the upcoming year. I still say that Mayweather's the top pound for pound fighter. You know, he hasn't lost yet. You know, he barely fights anymore, but you know, neither is the guy that you're gonna say. Even though we'll find out later that he may or may not be my fighter of the year.
Right.
But I think you know, and I'll give it away. You know, David's gonna say Andre Ward, and I can't really disagree with him by too much. I mean, but I still gotta go with Floyd Mayweather just because of the longevity. He still hasn't lost. He's still around in the sport. Hasn't officially retired. So I think Mayweather's 1, and Andre Ward is a close 2.
I think Floyd Mayweather is getting the same Manny Pacquiao treatment that was, you know, his in recent years. Pacquiao continued to be number 1 or 2 on everybody's list because he's Manny Pacquiao. And I think that's what happened to Floyd Mayweather. But if you look at the way Miguel Cotto was outclassed by Austin Trout, then you start to realize the way Mayweather performed against Cotto that maybe he really has lost a step. When I look at the way that Andre Ward outclassed Chad Dawson, to me was the performance of the year, simply because of the level. Chad Dawson, sure, has lost fights in the past, but he is literally one of the best world-class talents there is, and Andre Ward made him look like a sparring partner. I mean, it just, to me, was a statement that there's nobody pound for pound better than he is active today.
And we'll get back to the fight in a bit, but first we're going to mention the fight of the year, and we disagree on this again, and I say it was Rios Alvarado. I mean, if you like two guys, if you guys like the Gotti Ward fights, you know, two guys have absolutely no defense whatsoever, but have the heart, they have the will, they have the chin to withstand punishment after punishment. It was Rios Alvarado. Rios ultimately wins that fight by technical knockout. I mean, he came as close to knocking somebody's head off as somebody could come.
Yeah.
And you know, kudos to Mike Alvarado as well. I mean, he took some serious shots in that fight. He gave as good as he received. At the end, Rios, you know, his power was just that much better than Alvarado, and that was the difference in the fight. But Brandon Rios, to me, you know, I know he had his struggles against Richard Abreu, who's just a guy that could give anybody fits. I mean, they're talking about him fighting Adrian Broner. I think Broner will win, but Abreu could give
be
him
the
fits
toughest opponent
because
of his career.
because Adrian Broner's just a defensive fighter.
Yeah.
But Brandon Rios, to me, the most exciting fighter in the sport today. We're going to see plenty of Brandon Rios in years to come, and his fight against Alvarado, fight of the year.
I've picked Victor Ortiz versus Jose Cito Lopez. It's a little bit out of context now because it was so many months ago, and Rios Alvarado was very fresh in people's minds. But to me, I mean, you just did not expect, Jose Cito Lopez to put up the type of fight that he did. I mean, it looked like these guys were going to knock each other out several times throughout the fight. The back and forth to me was just incredible in so many ways. Just like Rios Alvarado, they mirrored each other. And then the drama of Victor Ortiz leaving his jaw open at the worst possible time, and Jose Cito Lopez breaks Ortiz's jaw in the 9th round, and Ortiz, I'm not going to say quits on his stool. I mean, there's no way that guy could have continued. But the drama of that fight to me was compelling. And again, argument can be made for both of those, but that's my pick.
And last but not least, fighter of the year, David. I'll let you go first.
I went with, I think, what is going to be the consensus pick of many people, and this is ironic because we just disagreed on the pound-for-pound thing, but I'm going to say Nonito Donaire, simply because he is recognized consensus top 5 pound-for-pound in the world, and knowing that, he still went ahead and fought 4 times this year, every single one of them against a world title challenger or current world champion, retired 2 of them in Maribula and Arce, and then, beat down Vasquez in a pretty exciting fight also. I mean, Donaire is a class talent. He's a class act. He's also, to me, makes him fighter of the year also is that he's participating in the VADA voluntary anti-doping testing 365 days a year. That makes him a true standard bearer in the sport. Even though Floyd Mayweather would like everyone to think that he's got the highest standards for testing, Donaire's allowing himself to be tested even when he's not training for a fight. And to me, he's proven more than anybody else that he's a fantastic fighter, willing to get in the ring at all times, and he's a clean fighter.
It's hard to disagree with you on Donaire, but I am just because of the performance. My pick is Andre Ward, and he only fought once this year. And you think back, and it's hard to imagine that he only fought once this year, but he did. He only fought against Chad Dawson, but to me that was one of the best performances in a highly anticipated championship fight I've ever seen in my life.
A lot of ways it reminds me. You know how when Floyd Mayweather was going to fight Diego Corrales, and people were like, "Oh, Corrales is probably going to beat Mayweather." That was, a lot of people, was the consensus pick, and then Mayweather literally came in and just proved that he was on a completely different level. And I think that's a very mirror image of this.
That's a good analogy as well. And also, I was thinking when the Cowboys faced the Buffalo Bills in that one Super Bowl, everybody thought it was going to be a great game. And the Cowboys just trounced them.
Yeah, made it look like an SEC team versus the Big East.
And Andre Ward made Chad Dawson look like an ordinary fighter. I mean, he made Chad Dawson look like Raul Cáceres against Alfredo Angulo. He didn't knock him out in the first round, but he dominated him like very little boxers have dominated an opponent in a championship fight ever.
A world-class opponent.
In the history of boxing. I mean, that performance, everything he did in that fight, defensively, offensively, his jab, his uppercuts, his hooks, everything about that fight, it was beautiful. It was that fight. You would like to package it up in a DVD and go to a young fighter and say, "This is how you fight."
Yeah.
And Andre Ward, the last U.S. Olympian to win a gold medal, and he's proving to the world that it wasn't a fluke when he won in what was it, in Sydney, right? In Sydney in 2000. He's been
he was in 2004. 2004 in Athens.
2004. Sydney, that's a little too far. Yeah. He's not that old. In Athens, he wins a gold medal, becomes a champion in the pros, dominates fight after fight, and I'm excited to see Andre Ward.
Interesting tidbit: Andre Ward has never lost a fight ever, in amateur ranks, in professional ranks, Olympics, otherwise. Wow.
But with that, we leave you guys. Thanks for supporting Boxing During Dinner.
Let's talk about the website. We're finally turning up with the website.
Yeah,
Antonio Bermudez,
we're getting a lot of
Madsen, who've been contributing articles. We've got a team that is developing now to give you guys a lot of content on the website. We are really genuinely trying to do big things in 2013.
And I'm not going to tell you guys that all of you guys could submit something and we'll put it on. We do have some standards, but it's nice to take a chance on some young guys trying to make it in the sport as a writer, because
like us.
We were there, and I was there many years ago actually, and I still look like I'm 10 years old, but I've been covering boxing for a while.
12.
But somebody took a chance on me, back then, and I like to take a chance on guys, boxingduringdinner.com. could have, you know, some of the best writers for years to come.
I think we've already got some good
you know,
ones.
but thanks for your support, because, you know, we're just two guys who love the sport. You know, we like to talk about the sport. It's and you know, we got Alex behind the camera who sits there and edits and all that, and we don't make any money. We just you know, we just do it for the love of the sport, and because we like, you know, we like to talk boxing with you guys.
We're glad that you guys too. Keep messaging us on Facebook, send us the emails, the tweets. Well, we read most things. The tweets I usually don't pay a ton of attention to. I should get better at that.
And if the world ended on December 21st, none of you saw this. So.
No, but it's been real anyway. We'll see you guys in 2013.